Bigga, what's going on here? Bigga, Bigga.
He won't answer you. That's my body. That's the way it's been ever since I was smoking pot. I used to be so energetic, used to have so much fun. But now, that's pretty much what it is. Boring, lazy, no energy. I just wish I had my body back.
We often hear about how the men what that intake process is like for men. As women, our needs, our bodies, our mindsets is very, very different. How is intake for the women?
If
Is it
you,
because we hear kind of nightmarish stories that when men go through the intake process, you're herded in, you're barked at, you're stripped, of
yeah,
everything. How is it as a woman going through intake for
I feel
DOC?
like for me it was very embarrassing, humiliating. Um, Remember, so at the time I'm still thinking cop mind. So nothing against like COs and stuff like that, but till they get to know you, you're just a number. So they treat everybody the same. So remember, they used to dealing with criminals, people that get locked up all the time, people that know. So sometimes they expect you to know, but the way, okay, get over here, stand here, line up, talk nasty, pull your clothes out, cough. Like you gotta spin around, open up your butt cheeks, cough, all of that. So
Same as
take your hair out. So same as the men, but we got a lot of us have hair. You got to take your hair out and things like that. But the same as the men. So to be naked and there's people next, you can't see them, but like they'd be right in a line in showers or something splitting us. But that's just like crazy. Like I'm getting told, take everything off.
no
Especially when you
question
get the
asked.
Buffett. When you get the Buffett, you gotta wash your hair with all this stuff. You gotta bend like it was just a lot. So it was a lot to take in because you got somebody barking at you, telling get naked, do this, do this, do that. And then also it's a trauma because when you go on visits, after the visits, they have to check you back. So you have to get naked, they check your clothing, and also you have to bend over, squat, and cough to make sure you don't have nothing in your private areas.
Do they make any accommodations for pregnant women? Or are they
Um,
treated pretty much the same during the intake
I think for the
process?
most part, everybody's treated the same. They probably be a little gentler because they pregnant or whatever, but for the most part, everybody got to go through getting naked, taking your hair out, things like that. If your hair's in your hair, you can keep it, but once you go up, you can't have weaves, you can't have none of that.
Not braids, if you got extensions, any of that, all that got to come out.
Well, if as long as it's in your hair,
Okay.
but once you go up, all of that stuff got to go out.
So you could take that on Rikers, you could have that because
Yep.
again, you're not convicted just yet.
Right.
But once you're about to go up,
Right. Right. Right.
once you've been found guilty, whether you did it or not, you can't bring that. The world has to stay
Yeah, you
behind.
already know you ain't coming with your lace front, honey. I'm
Yeah,
just
that
saying,
gotta go.
you ain't coming
That ain't
shorty. You
got. That
thought
ain't got. That's
you
not
the
going to
chick
stay.
outside, not in here. Right, right.
Me a new face. Be like,
Right.
that's the same person.
Right.
That person looks
Yo.
a little crazy. What is the living situation in the dorms for the women? What
So
is
I
that
didn't
like?
live. All right. So when I hit upstate, I lived in the dorms. Before I got convicted, I was in a building by myself. Then they put me in PC because technically I
Because
was
you're
still a
still
police
technically a
officer
police
until I was
officer.
found guilty and all of that. Now, upstate, the dorm area at the time, because they changed the rules, we was double bunk. So for the most part, you lived in a dorm. It was about 56 women.
Okay.
Top bunk, bottom bunk. To give you an idea, it's like a cubicle at work. It's like a work cubicle, but basically bunk bed, two lockers, and that's about it. And a chair, if you had a chair in there. But when they
When
took over and they were saying Priya and, people looking at each other bodies and stuff like that, they started putting everybody in single bunks. But that
okay,
took time. But when I was on Bedford, I was in Bedford for about a little bit over 30 days. I had a roommate.
you had a roommate. When they had you in PC on Rikers, are you guys in individual cells or do you get to um meet or even see or socialize with the other people who are being detained there, other women that are being detained there under protective
Yeah, so
custody?
we're in cells, but you got rec time, they pop you out your cells and stuff like that. Just that building is PC building.
Were you the only one law enforcement?
At the time, yes. I was the only law enforcement person there.
Were there other people that were placed in PC? I would think would be someone being charged with something terrible towards children or the elderly.
Yes, so they used to call them baby killers. For the most part, a lot of the people, they did something terrible to kids or they had murders and stuff like that to people. Like high rated crimes.
High profile crime. Did you recognize any of them?
Only one I recognized at the time was the old lady, Ortega was her name. She was the babysitter. She did something with the kids and stacked them up. But for the most part, I really wasn't familiar with, nobody there.
Because they had probably been there for
Yeah.
quite a while.
A lot, like not for nothing. A lot of the people was already there 5, years. You supposed to not sit that long, but a lot of people with their situations, one of the like the lady Ortega, I think she was there for like 5 years. So, a lot.
Just waiting.
Waiting,
waiting
for trial and everything else, yes.
Waiting for trial. Is there any offer of counseling or mental health to just keep your emotional and mental wellness in check while you're waiting?
So yes, they have programs that actually used to come to the PC because since you PC, you couldn't really do a lot. You could go to the law library, you could do little things, but you had to be escorted. But they had programs if you needed help. They had a lot of, I'm not gonna lie, Rikers Island had a lot of different programs that you could utilize if you wanted to.
Say you had a lot of family support, and that is a wonderful thing. I think there is this idea, especially with the younger girls now, who we are seeing arrests are going up. Women and girls,
Yes.
females, period, are being convicted of some really heinous crimes. Studies show that most women, most females, most biological women, when they are convicted, it's usually the root of it is something domestic. There is a connection with someone that they are married, spiritually married, or soul tied to.
Right.
That leads to an act of violence, either with that person or someone else connected to that person, or they engage in criminal activity out of a demonstration of their love for that person, which could be drug trafficking, which could be armed robbery, which can be gang violence. But when you get to the visiting floor, very different than what you see in the men's building,
Right. Please.
where they're bumping strollers.
Right.
It's the slugfest at the bus stop.
Right.
No, that's my dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm fighting for this 45-minute visit, right?
Right.
I went to visit a family member at the Rose M. Singer building. And the first thing that stood out to me is all I saw was other women. Grandmothers, aunties, cousins, sisters, best friends. I didn't see a couple of lovers that was there, but again, other women.
Right.
I didn't see the husband, the boyfriend, the child's father on the floor. The visiting floor was much smaller.
Yes.
There was very little allowances given for the children that was running around. There was little babies running around, usually with the family members. But I didn't see that overpouring demonstration of support and damn near competition to visit.
Right.
Was that what you observed also from that side?
Right. So yes, by the grace of God, I have a supporting family. I had good friends. I never been in trouble. So when this happened, my family support me. They was there. So I always had visits. That was a blessing. But I noticed that to me, the women visiting center is butt naked. And I feel like because a lot of women that do get caught up for their lovers or whatever it is, they don't have the loyalty that women have. Remember, us women, no matter who you are, gay, straight, whatever, we are nurturers. We got that loving thing. So we go hard to prove our love and show our love. Unless, from what I see, unless you have a supporting family member or something like that, You don't see that. The men's be packed, like you said, big visiting room, but no. For the most part, a lot of the ladies, if they was married, when I got to Bedford, people that had husbands and stuff like that, they husbands and kids would come up there, but not like the men's side. But for the most part, it's friends and family if you had that. It's some people who wasn't getting visits at all. You know what I mean? So I was very blessed. But I could be honest, for me, going on a visiting floor, it was like a gift and a curse. My first visit. So I got visits in Rikers Island that was regular. You know, everybody was coming, my friends, my mother, my grandmother, things like that. When I got up to Bedford, my little sister came, my mother, my little sister, my cousin, my mother, and my grandmother came. And that's when it hit, because now I blew trial and I'm upstate. So when I'm there, I'm on a visit, everything is good. And then my sister just breaks down crying and hugging me. And I'm crying. And it's like, I love you. I'm happy you here. But it's like, damn, they got to leave me.
Right.
And then in this time, I guess the way my sister was breaking certain things down to me, she was like, no, don't leave me. You always was there for me. You do everything for me. So it was hard. Because I'm happy that my family is here. But once the visit is over, I got to hug them. I got to go. And then they crying because they leaving me there. Right. So it's bittersweet. But as time went on, I got a little better with that. But the first few visits
were the hardest.
When my father, mother came, my grandparents, like, you know, when I was really up there and the first few family members came, it was hard. It was hard. I got more visits in Rikers Island from friends. Family came up to Bedford. You know, for the most part, once I got to Bedford, a lot of my friends, they was holding me down. Phone calls, packages, things like that. But as I got up and up and up, the only people that really was coming all the time was my soul family members. But everybody else was holding me down in the background and doing what they could do best. But one thing I could say about this experience, now that I'm mature and got a different mindset, I felt like I had to go through this because I was Naj. Big Naj. I knew everybody. I had all these friends. Everybody loved me. Everybody messed with me. One thing I'm going to say, when you go through experience like this, you know who your real friends are. You know who your real family are. So going through this experience allowed me to see who my real family was when it came to blood. Just because we got, we blood doesn't mean we family. And really showed me who my real friends was. You know what I mean?
And I think that's an education that many of us, I don't think that's an education you could receive until hell is at your door.
Right.